Here we're going to tie the web wing caddis. First thing we're going to do is just get our thread started near the front of the hook. And we're going to take our thread all the way back to the bend here. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to take a whiting, natural done rooster feather from a rooster cape here, and I'm just going to measure out a hackle here. I want those barbs to just barely touch the point of the hook. I'm going to tie this in right here at the back, making sure I leave a little bit of room there at the back of the hackle feather with some bare quill. I stripped off all the barbs. I leave just a little bit of room there at the back so that first turn won't have any barbs on it. Now the next thing to do is to dub our body. For that we're going to use some gray Superfine dubbing. The color doesn't matter a whole lot here. You can use tan, you can use olive. You really kind of want to match the color of caddis that you're going for, but a lot of natural caddis bodies, at least the adult flies, have a natural kind of a gray muted color. So we're going to use some gray Superfine. We're going to just dub a nice clean body here, fairly thin. We're just going to gradually taper it a little bit as we come forward on the fly. I like to dub it nice and tight. I don't like any frazzly fibers sticking off the side of it. We're going to dub almost all the way forward. I'm going to leave about a hook eye length of undubbed body here from the hook eye. Just a little bit more here. We'll take our thread all the way up here. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take this hackle feather, we're going to wrap it forward, and the body or the hackle on this fly is fairly dense, so I'm going to make fairly close wraps. We want a lot of these fibers to stick out of the bottom. I don't put them right next to each other, I just leave a little bit of room in between. I'm going to take it all the way to the front here. Once I get to the front, I'm just going to capture it with my thread. And I can trim out the excess. If you have any caught fibers, you can just trim those out of the way. Now, the next thing to do is we want to give our fly just a bit of a haircut, a bit of a buzz cut. So I'll trim the top fibers here. I'll leave a little bit of stubbly on there. Now the next thing to do is to trim our web wing. We want to cut a piece of web wing here that's about twice the width of the gap of the hook. I'm going to use some mottled tan here. You can also use mottled done, but it's about twice the size of the gap in width. I'm going to trim it so that I have a little V taken out of the back and it tapers forward to a point. All I'm going to do is I'm going to take this piece of web wing here and I'm going to put it on the shank of the hook so that the tip of this web wing hangs back about a quarter of the way past the shank of the hook. I'm just going to take it and fold it on each side, and I'm going to take my thread with a nice loose wrap and just capture the tip of that web wing. Then I can get in here and trim out the excess, any pieces that are trapped. And the last thing you'll do is you'll just kind of clean up that head a little bit. It's okay if you have a little bit of thread up by the head. Don't worry about it too much. And you can whip finish. Now the next thing to do is we're just going to take that web wing and quickly just kind of fold it up out of the way. We're going to take a little bit of Zap-A-Gap. Careful not to overdo it at this point. We just need a little bit. I'm going to take some of it here and just put it right on the back. We're going to take our web wing here, fold it back down. We're going to take it and pinch it to each side of the fly. Careful not to glue your fingers. So it will seep through there just a little bit. And what you end up with is a little tent wing look on your caddis. Sits flush to the water. Gluing that top of that caddis also helps that piece from folding back over as you cast it. And you can get all the materials for this fly at intheriffle.com.